And good morning. We are live on the Falcons Podcast on a brisk Wednesday fall morning that's going to see spring-like weathers approach again this afternoon as the 70s make an appearance. And no, not the 70s show, but should be warm and gorgeous out there today as the Falcons leave the country and head to Germany, to Berlin, to take on the still pretty hot Indianapolis Colts, Nick, even though they're coming off they played ugly and still almost won loss in Pittsburgh over the weekend.
What was it, 6 turnovers?
With 6 turnovers, and they still had a chance to win in Pittsburgh.
Pretty insane. Yeah, that's you don't see many 3+ turnover games. 6+ is insane. But yeah, guten Tag to you. Excited for the Falcons to play 7:30 out my way out here in Denver. And Berlin, pretty cool city. It's bizarre because the Allies bombed it to the ground, so the architecture is weird, and then you have the whole East versus West thing. But if you ever get a chance to get out that way, it's a good time. They're really obsessed with their Umpelman, which is their street crossing guy. Like, they have shirts and all the designs for the street crossing guy. They're not the typical white guy. It's a dude with a little hat walking by, but it's a good time out there in Berlin. I got to say, I preferred Munich, but Berlin's cool.
I haven't been one of the places, but a couple of things we want to get into today. As we roll through this, the trade deadline came and went yesterday. The Falcons made a couple of moves, not trades, but they did make a couple of moves, addressed the problematic place kicking situation, and they brought in another offensive lineman. Now, people are starting to panic on this. What does this mean? Lindstrom got hurt a little bit. Bergeron got hurt a little bit. Storm Norton's still not back. Why is this guy here? Andrew Stuber, who has been with the Falcons before. It makes me nervous when you're picking up guys that can't make the Cincinnati Bengals. That makes me a little bit nervous. Also, the Colts made a big transaction that affects the Falcons this weekend, obviously, but also, again, because the Jets are in full-on tank mode. And so, if you're expecting to go 1-1 against the Colts and Jets, those odds just got better. The Colts just got a lot better, and the Jets just got a lot worse. So if your expectations were 1-1, then that's not a bad parlay to pick. We'll get into that a little bit. I want to get into some pretty ugly offensive numbers for the Atlanta Falcons. We've talked about third down deficiency, and it's worse than you think. It really is. So those are the things we'll hit on, and then we will talk about whatever y'all want to get into today. That's why we go live. Like, one of our members, our dear members, John Harrell, coming in early, says, "Good morning, Scott. I guess we're poised for a playoff push." The sarcasm is thick with John this morning. And Nick, I won't answer for you. Were you surprised at all the Falcons didn't make a trade of any sorts, either a buy or a sell, however minor, on deadline day?
They were, to me, obvious selling candidates for every single reason besides the decision makers. The decision makers are not. If this was a new regime, sell. We don't have draft picks. Season's kind of gone the drain. Oh, we're just figuring ourselves out. 2nd-year quarterback. No, but this is what Terry Fontenot, you mentioned, 8th year. Raheem Morris, you don't tip 5th year, only 5th. Okay. You only get Raheem Morris his year and a half right now, but I mean, he's fighting for his job. So I think all the circumstances of the roster, what your draft picks are like, the direction of the team right now suggested not a hardcore like fire sale like the Jets, but like we're listening for Caden Ellis and some of our depth in the secondary. Maybe Tyler Algier, as you mentioned before, maybe Kyle Pitts. Maybe that's a big move. But with all these decision makers, seats very hot, as well as the 2nd-year quarterback, Michael Penix, not tearing down the offense around him. I'm not that surprised, even though I do wish. I think this is a team that probably would have been better off selling and getting a few extra picks in there, ideally.
Yeah, I think so too. And there's some guys in there. We mentioned Tyler Algier. Some of the under the radar guys. You need to know what Caden Ellis wants to do. I don't want to lose him. Let him just. He's a free agent. He's cheap. God, he's like $6.5 million right
I would
now.
have traded for him.
That's going to at least double in the offseason. And then a guy that I'm still surprised. I was surprised he made it through, actually, and I'm kind of a little surprised he's still here. It's David Onyemata. And one of the reasons is for that is as Halsey HFW says, reminder that the Cousins-Mooney combo has a cap charge of $50 million in 2025 and has produced 0 touchdowns. Onyemata's played okay, so this isn't necessarily a knock on him, but he is your second highest cap hit guy at 16 and change, and you have room on there. He signed a 3-year deal. The third year is usually an option for the club because the guaranteed money is gone, and you've got flexibility in that contract based on the dead money. So you could have saved, well, I've got it pulled up. I'll just look at it. I won't even guess. You could have saved with Onyemata, dead cap of 9, cap hit of 17. You could have saved $8 million by moving on from him. Well, you still could save half of that if you were to get a trade for him. More than that, because someone else is going to pick up his salary. So I'm not surprised that, again, for the same reasons you said, that they didn't sell, because I don't think they can afford to. I don't think Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris can afford to flush the season down the drain. And if they could, then it was an indication to me that they're okay. Listen, y'all do what you need to do to get ready for next year. You got one more year. They didn't do any of that, so I don't think they've got those vote of confidences, that assurance that you are going to get another year, and they couldn't afford to punt on this season, so to speak. We want to say hello to Curtis real quick. Curtis, one of our dear members and a super chatter. He says, with no move during the trade deadline, everyone is really on the hot seat now. The GM, everyone, by the way. Yeah. So we're thinking alike, Curtis, because I kind of just said the same thing. If you had the assurances that you'd get another year, why wouldn't you move? Yes, Tyler Algier is a really valuable player. You're not using him. You're not using him. He's had 8 carries in the last 3 games. Anybody looking for a running back would be interested in Tyler Algier. Is anybody looking for a running back? Maybe they're not, Nick. I don't think anybody moved yesterday.
Teams are. There was Breece Hall, a lot of Breece Hall talk, but they were demanding a 3rd-round pick. Also, the upcoming draft is booty at the running back position. So a lot of teams are, if they have contractual control, holding on to some of those running backs. But for I think for a 4th-round pick, a 5th-round pick, you could have got it done. Maybe that's more valuable here. Maybe get a comp pick for that. I'm not sure how aggressive the Falcons will be in free agency. I also don't even know how good the free agency class will be. It seems like free agency classes are worse every single year. But we'll definitely see what happens. I do agree everyone's on the hot seat. I'm just looking at the depth chart. I want to keep the offensive pieces. Kyle Pitts is the one that's a harder sell, but you're not taking away from the offensive line for sure. I mean, if somebody offered you 3 first-round picks, we had that conversation, maybe Drake London. But some of these depth players that maybe you want to evaluate, some of the younger players on the defensive side of the ball. Somebody like, again, really mentioned a lot for the trades, Ebiketie. I would have listened to offers for Mike Hughes and D. Alford. And you're talking about 6th, 7th-round pick, but you need chips right now. This team has so few draft picks coming up this year. So I don't know. Maybe they were listening, but in the end, they hold pat.
I think Floyd getting hurt may have changed the conversation around Ebiketie. He came up when 32-year-old vets come up lame with a hamstring, recurring hamstring. You can't count on those guys. And now you go from 4 to 3, and if I trade one away, now what? We've talked all along, I can't count on Braylon Trice to come back. If Braylon Trice was healthy, maybe you make that move. So he can come in and be a 4th edge, but we can't count on him to come back. So, I don't know. And I don't think they can just go full on fire sale Jets wise. They're not there. They don't have that luxury with the job security other way. So Curtis, thank you for the super chat. I fully agree. Ski Yee, he's been in you've been in your cups lately. I know you're upset about all this. He says the Colts will whoop us. Colts are coming off playing a bad game, and they are a good team. This will easily, by far, be the best offense the Falcons have played. They are number 1 in DVOA for on the offensive side of the ball. Daniel Jones didn't have a great game, but I think he was charged with 5 turnovers. 2 of them were tip passes. One of them was kind of an end of the half type of thing. Okay, there's your 3 interceptions. Then a couple of fumbles, those happen. So it wasn't, oh yeah, Daniel Jones is reverting back to, icy, oily hand Daniel Jones. This was kind of fluky. And they're invigorated. They're their general manager, Chris Ballard, just went out and spent 2 first-round picks on Sauce Ballard. And I kind of played with this a little bit. Yes, I know they're not playing in London, but did the Colts just find their answer for London and Berlin? This is, and it's not just London, but for this game, Sauce is a long-term piece and a clear indication, hey, we think we're in a window. Let's go for this. And we can get, he's been considered the 1 or 2 the last 3 years at corner. We're going to see him play on Sunday.
The one thing I will not push back on, but this is Lou Amarino. I can never get the name right. Anarumo of the former Bengals, now Colts defensive coordinator, plays a lot of zone coverage, and zone takes a little bit of time to understand your intricacies and chemistry with the guys around you. If it was a really man-heavy predicated scheme, cover 1, cover 0, then it's like, okay, you go out there, you got that guy. Sounds
and he
good.
might do that, Nick.
And they might.
You've heard me tell that Deion Sanders story before, right?
Yep.
And one of his first meetings with the Dallas Cowboys, they're like, he's like, whoa. And he walks up to the board and circles. He goes, I got this guy, and circles him. He goes, now the rest of y'all do your thing. Now, Sauce ain't Deion. There's not another Deion. Yeah. So continue, please.
Yeah, closest we've had is probably Revis/Champ. But as far as
there is no other Deion. I mean, he's in a league of his own when it comes to shutting down guys.
Yeah, he's great. But Sauce is much more of a zone cornerback, very handsy. You want to play press bail coverage with him, but I think there should be some chances for miscommunication. Now, granted, because the Falcons are so one pass weapon on the perimeter in London, maybe they do go man and shade of safety the other direction, but we'll see. Lou is really one of the better week-to-week game planners out there. He's still notorious for what he did against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game all those years ago, where he dropped 8 from different spots constantly and really confused the Chiefs, who just refused to run the football in those games. So we'll see. It's going to be a tough matchup regardless, what scares me, Scott, and you mentioned it already, it's the offense, but it's not just the offense. This is a team that wants to bludgeon you. They're one of the top 5 offensive lines in football. Now, they didn't have the best game last week against the Steelers defense, who's been, I mean, I don't know if you saw this, Scott. They had a funeral in the stands for the Steelers in the tailgate for the Steelers defense because they were so disappointing this season. They had like a full on casket and did a bunch of stuff.
Even with all those turnovers, the Colts still ran up like 500 yards.
Yes, and that's my biggest concern about this Falcons defense this entire season. And I still don't freaking understand the Bills' game plan. If you get into heavy personnel and force them to be heavy in the box and run on them at the point of attack, you can get this Falcons defense. I still don't understand what the Bills did after what we saw, how Carolina ran the football with everything. But regardless, this is a Colts team. They want to run the football. They want to be 12 personnel. They have one of the most exciting young tight ends in football who actually is a wide tight end. Like, he's not this gimmicky, oh, look at me, I'm a tight end, but actually I'm a wide receiver. No, he'll play in line and he'll block you, which helps with the numbers. So Falcons defense so far this season is 9th in DVOA, which is awesome, of course. But their rush ranking is not quite as high. Got it right here. They are all the way down in 24th. 5th in pass, 24th against the run. So this is one that I'm expecting. Keep it simple, stupid. Hopefully you don't have a lot of third and long. Hopefully they do have a lot of third and longs because we're cheering for the Colts or the Falcons. Gosh, screw the Colts. Don't like them. Although my next door neighbor did marry Bob Sanders, and he was a nice guy. I liked Bob Sanders a lot.
I won't be totally surprised if they go for 200 yards rushing in this game. If you get 150 from Jonathan Taylor and 50 from Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones is a running quarterback.
He's an athlete.
He is a very good running quarterback. Excuse me. One hit James. Morning, guys. I feel like this is probably the week someone important gets fired if we get blown out again. Arthur Blank can't be satisfied with 3 and 6 and no first round pick. And Halsey coming back says, what would that accomplish by firing people other than PR? And I guess my answer to that might be is if you did, and I don't think they will. I really don't. I think Raheem is here till the end of the year. Now he might make some changes to how he does things, but he's got the rest of the season to turn it around. And if you don't, there's conversations. Everybody else gets 3 years. Why not him? And again, I've seen other conversations on X where a lot of people are very vocal about still backing Terry Fontenot despite what would be 5 straight losing seasons. And again, it's like, well, what is Terry Fontenot supposed to do if this? It's not him, it's McKay, it's not him, it's Morris, it's not this. Then what's he doing here? Right? I mean, then the title for that is scapegoat. Then is he will be scapegoated as part of the move. Now, again, I understand. I can make the argument for Terry Fontenot a lot easier than I can make for the coaching staff right now. Right now, the coaching staff is, I don't need to see a year 3. I've seen all I need to see in the first 18 months, and then let's see what happens in the next 9 games. But to answer the question, what would that accomplish is, is Ulbrich a head coaching candidate? Is he? I don't know. We might find out. If you wanted to find out, that would be a way to do it. Do you have a head coaching candidate on staff? That would be what you would be trying to find out for free, while you are then also talking heavily and recruiting coaches, their agents, not tampering. They have agents for a reason, but talking with these agents the whole time while you're doing that early in the process. Sam, good to see you. He says, I'm worried about that offensive line signing. Can't afford to miss Jake or Chris. Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Lindstrom's name got thrown into this, because what it signaled to me early on was Andrew Stuber, who's got time at tackle and guard. He hasn't been really good at either one of them. That's why he's bounced around some practice squads. Big kid, 6'7", 320 pounds.
6'7". Sorry, I had to do it.
Was
the kid thing. Sorry, I had to do it.
I don't know what that is, and I don't want to know. That's one of those things, like, I haven't seen the Titanic, and I'm not gonna just now, because it's just kind of a thing. I have no idea what 6'7" is, other than the height. I don't want to know. I'm going to be the guy that has no idea. I have no idea what that means. I don't care.
It's dumb. Yeah.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I'll be the guy that doesn't know. I'll be the old guy that doesn't know. My eyes are closed. I'm closed-minded on this.
I don't think anybody knows.
I can't imagine that it would add to my quality of life.
Yeah.
Anyway, the one that nobody's talking about for some reason, it's Storm Norton. What this says to me is Storm might not be coming back. They opened his window 2 weeks ago. They have a week to get him back on the field. And we said that all along. Storm Norton is eligible after 4 weeks. The dude hasn't played since last year. If he is eligible to come off IR in 4 weeks, what makes anybody think he's going to be an upgrade at right tackle when he hasn't played in almost a year, hasn't practiced in 6 months? So he is coming to the end of his 3-week window, where they have to decide, do we want to activate Storm Norton, or do we want to put him on season-ending IR? To me, this move means as much about Storm as it does about Matthew Bergeron.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Storm back here relatively soon, because I feel like the pin has popped, the balloon for Elijah at right tackle has been a issue as of late. But I mean, they're worried about the depth in the offensive line. Isn't it Bergeron too that got dinged up in this one?
Bergeron. That's what I said. So yeah. I think it's more about Bergeron than Lindstrom. I get the feeling just through reading body language that Lindstrom's going to be okay, but Bergeron might be a little more serious.
Yeah.
And you're going to need a backup if you have to make a move with him. And now you're down to your third string right tackle and your third string left guard, because your second string left guard is playing right tackle. Are you better off getting Wilkinson back over to left guard and then bringing in Stuber at right tackle? Or, I don't know, but Storm Norton, if he's not activated this week, that will be his window closes. His 21-day window closes in 7 days, a week from today. They have to make a move for him, put him on the 53 or IR him for the year, or release him in the course of the next 7 days. So yes, you're very right to be worried about the offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, it's the key to this entire thing for Penix, in my opinion, with how he plays. And I still just keep coming back to it, Scott, for how you guys have spent on the offensive line, invested resources, as well as the running back that you have here in Bijan Robinson. It's probably the failure of the season for me that this isn't a top 8 rushing offense in football. It's not as egregious as what we're seeing on with the Raiders, using the 6th overall pick on a running back and having arguably the singular worst rushing offense in the entire NFL. But you want to take Penix off the high dive, and that should be through the running game and the running game being efficient. And just so far this season, it's been anything but the case for the Falcons. They are middle of the pack for most of their rush success rate, rush statistics, 19th in EPA. It's not good enough. It's not good enough.
And part of it is the injuries, but part of it's the predictability of the scheme. If I'm in the pistol, I'm running the ball. Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Thanks. The Falcons used the number 8, but that was after number 8 on Bijan. That was after a breakout performance by the offensive line in 2022. That was the one of the reasons I was so down. I mean, I think I picked the Falcons to go 2-15 in 2022, and one of the reasons I was so down on them was because their trench play looked so bad in 2021, and they didn't add to it. Those guys got better. They absolutely got better. Matthews, Bergeron wasn't there, but they put in Eli Wilkinson. That was one of the moves. They put in Wilkinson for Jalen Mayfield at left guard, and he played okay, which was a big leap from the worst offensive lineman in football, which that's where Jalen Mayfield was graded. Dahlman coming in, played pretty well. Lindstrom's Lindstrom, and then McGarry in that Arthur Smith scheme was really good. So Bijan was set up. Bijan and Tyler Algier was set up to be playmakers. I'm not sure what they were doing with Ashton Jenney on that. Jerome says, good morning, Nick and Scott. Looks like we're quiet because the new general manager will need a few picks of his own. Yeah, I couldn't picture this team having the balls to sell. I really didn't. And they didn't have anything to buy. Who are they going to outbid to buy? They're low on salary cap room in this year, and they've already traded away all their picks in trade ups. So I really was not at all surprised that they didn't make a move. I don't think they've got the ability to punt, to sell on this team. Michael Ronquillo, good to see you. He says, good morning, Scott and Nick on the Falcons podcast. He says, go Broncos. Yeah, Michael, we don't care. Even for this Auburn grad, Bo doesn't have a whole lot of fond memories.
Appreciate you coming in, though, Michael.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. And Ski says, we always find a way to lose. Don't overlook the Jets and the Dolphins. Don't overlook the Jets. The Dolphins beat us. Yeah, and the difference is now you've got guys that are fighting for jobs. There's fringe guys. This was the Falcons in 21 and 22 under Arthur Smith. These guys played hard for him because there were a lot of veterans on one-year deals, minimum deals, fighting for jobs. So I know the Falcons can't afford to overlook anybody. That's for sure. I'm just saying, if you're going down the schedule, and the Falcons have been so predictably unpredictable this year when it comes to who they have won and lost to, you'd think, okay, at the beginning of the season, you're like, okay, Colts in Germany, that's a possible win. Now it's a long shot win. And the Jets, you're like, okay, Falcons should beat the Jets. Well, the Jets just got worse. They got a lot worse. Quinnen Williams is a beast. He is an absolute beast. Mm-hmm. Sauce not being there, if you've only got really one reliable target on the perimeter, the guy that covers him is now gone. So, but I get what you're saying for sure.
The Falcons are a box of chocolates, Scott. You never know what you're going to get, right? Just week to week. I like this stat from FTN. They have a variance, which is your week to week output. If you're consistent, kind of the same output, you're number one in variance with a low ranking, but a high ranking. Falcons have the third highest variance this season, only behind the Vikings and the Commanders, who are, they're a roller coaster.
Yeah, and they've had quarterback problems.
Yes.
They've had quarterback switches, which is really the only thing. The Falcons are self-inflicted.
Yep. Yeah, the quarterback thing.
They've had a couple injuries, but did Darnell Mooney turn into the guy that had a huge year early in his career in Chicago and then disappear? What the hell happened with Ray? There's and Zach Robinson is proving to be in over his head on this stuff. Let's see. Yeah, and Terry, we agree with you 100%. If Drake is out of the play consistently, they've only got one receiver. Expect us not even get 17 with this offense. And again, they can put in a simple scheme because it's a skimple. The Colts can be simple on defense. Remember Zach Robinson telling us that that's what Miami did. And no, we made it really simple. That way our guys wouldn't get confused. They would just go and tackle the guy. That was how the Dolphins shut down the Falcons. Colts will be able to figure that out. Sauce, I want you on Drake, and then we'll go around him. We've got man zone schemes that everybody else knows you're going to be the man.
Yeah, I think this is probably a heavy Drake London in the slot game, ideally, just because then you can isolate him. Now, granted, Kenny Moore is an unbelievable slot cornerback as well. The Colts give themselves one of the top 5 secondaries in football, probably, or definitely in the AFC, making this move. But hopefully you're trying to do what you can to isolate him. Maybe it's a lot of pre-snap motion with Drake London. But yeah, the wide receiver 2 problem is a big one, obviously, for the pass game. And the Falcons pass game is bottom and like bottom 10, bottom 5 in many metrics. But again, I keep coming back to it. This team is built personnel-wise to run the football, and it's not the easy button that it should be for this game. It should be like, oh, we're in trouble. We're in a funk right now. We need 5 yards. Bijan, Algier. It just has not been that way. So, and that's the offensive line. That's probably some of the Kyle Pitts and the wide receiver blocking as well out there. Besides Drake London, you're absolved, Drake. We love you. But it's a frustration, no doubt. We got Bryce Cream 714. Good morning. Is there a team you'd want the next general manager from? I'm hoping either Rams or the Eagles trees. I think the flavor du jour that everybody's talking about, I don't know the personnel depth of other teams as well, Scott, but I think there is somebody, the assistant general manager for the Detroit Lions is getting a lot of buzz right now. He does originally come from that Rams tree out there, but he's somebody that is people are very excited about, and I would be shocked if he's not hired somewhere. I'm not sure, though, like where the Falcons are in the pecking order of wanted jobs and everything as well. But I don't have the name from you. I'll have to look it up, Scott. But the Detroit Lions assistant general manager.
Yeah, the Dolphins are looking for a GM.
Yes.
Other than that, I don't really know. So there's always 5 to 8 coaches, it feels like, that end up getting changed over the course of the year.
Yeah. Ray Agnew is the name. For the
who's our Agnew? That's the returner. I've already forgotten.
Yeah, nope. This is Agnew's from he was with the Rams.
What's Agnew's first name?
I'm not sure.
No, it's one of those, like, isn't it Ray? Now you got me going. It's like you hear something, you're like, wait, that doesn't sound right.
I mean, it's a common first name, but Jamal
Agnew.
Yeah.
It's like Ray Agnew. Yeah, that sounds right. No,
yeah.
Thank you. And I'm sure someone in the he hasn't done enough to make me remember his name yet.
Yeah.
He's on a 1-year deal. He'll be gone next year. He won't be back. He was cheap. You get what you pay for. And and Jamal Agnew was $1.1 million on that one. False start Falcons. He says, I know we don't have many picks next year, but we draft a kicker. It's a really bad situation. You don't typically have to. False start Falcon. And drafting one isn't necessarily a better way to go about doing it. Find a veteran free agent, bring in 5 free agents that don't get drafted, undrafted free agent kickers. There's guys out there. So, I mean, how many kickers get drafted a year? 2, 3, maybe? Yeah.
One.
So the kicker will definitely be a priority, and it needs to be a priority for, I want some experience, and then I want, a guy like Lenny Craig, a guy with a lot of potential, but they definitely need to go into the offseason with kicking being a priority. They're on their 3rd starting kicker in 9 games, and this guy's resume isn't any better than the others, really. Yeah. He was 5 of 7 last year. Before that, he wasn't in the league for the 3 years prior to that. Kicked a pressure field goal for the Commanders against the Detroit Lions, if I'm not mistaken. But is he the long-term answer? There's nothing that makes us think that. It's just, hey, can we kick an extra point? That's not too much to ask. So getting back to the offensive woes, when we talk about how did you, again, it wasn't all bad against New England.
No.
In fact, it was mostly good. That's what's so frustrating. The Falcons put themselves in a position where the previous 65 teams that have been in that position have won. They broke a 65-game winning streak with 5 sack differential and +2 in turnovers and lose. Previous teams in the last 10 years that do that are 44-0. They played well against New England, but their third down conversions on both sides of the ball were terrible. It was 75% against, which is terrible. Couldn't get them off the
66.
field.
Wasn't it 66?
Yeah, you're right. 8 over 12 is, yeah, it's 9 over 12 is 75, and
it was
8 over 12 is 66. It's
Yep.
2/3 versus 3/4.
It's all good.
66 is still high.
Oh, it's very high. Anything
It's
above
still
50
high.
is like, wow.
And the Falcons were 10%. They were 1 for 10. So Taryn Womack over at AtlantaFalcons.com, she says they're 25% in their last 3 games. So the Falcons have had, and she broke down each of those. It's 8 of 32. That is 1 out of 4, Nick. 1 divided by 4 is 25%. I got that one, I think. 15 of them were between 1 and 5 yards. Well, you only got 8 total, so it couldn't have been 65%. They converted 7 of 15. 7 of 15, which is still below 50%, 1 to 5. That's awful. It's closer. Normal is closer to 65%.
Yeah.
4 of them were 11 plus yards, and they converted 1. 25% on 3rd and 11 plus isn't all that bad. 13, if you've done the math, you already know the answer. 13 were 3rd and 6 to 3rd and 10 in the last 3 games. Goose eggs. 0 for 13 on 3rd and 6 to 3rd and 10. That's your passing game right there. That's your intermediate passing game when they are bringing pressure. And they're 0 for 13. 0 for 13. That's how you lose games where you win everything else. Special teams, 3rd downs. And that comes down to execution, planning, scheming on offense, which has been failing under Zach Robinson this year.
It's been bad. I mean, it is. I hate to be this guy. 3rd down is also a quarterback stat at the end of the day.
Oh, no, it's all lumped into me. Yeah, again, Nick, let me Penix isn't playing well. Do you blame? Is that Penix's fault? That's a whole discussion.
Yeah.
The Falcons aren't playing well. Is that on Terry Fontenot? That's a whole discussion. At the end of the day, it's not getting done. Why? Michael Penix isn't playing well, especially on 3rd down. Is that Zach Robinson's fault? Is that on Penix? Is it some of both? Is it lack of receivers? All those things, Nick. No, there's no one answer. There's plenty of blame to go around.
When you're playing in the toilet, there's going to be shit on everybody. That's what the Falcons offense has been, unfortunately. But 3rd down, I have the shout out to RBSDM, which stands for Running Backs Don't Matter, because they have a really good dashboard for looking at a bunch of the advanced stats. But I wish they had explosive play rate, Scott, or win probability added. But we got EPA and success rate, and the Falcons on 3rd and 4th down this year, 5th worst EPA per dropback or EPA per play on offense, the 3rd worst success rate, and they're 4th worst in dropback EPA on 3rd and 4th down, 4th worst in dropback success rate, 5th worst in rush EPA on 3rd down. Luckily, they jump up to all the way to 25th out of 32 in rush success rate, but their 3rd and 4th down plays are awful. I think that some of that's quarterback, some of that's what you do on 1st and 2nd down. Now, granted, EPA does capture your down and distance expected, so like a 3rd and 13, if you don't get it, is not going to ding you as much as not getting a 3rd and 1. But it's not good enough right now. And some of that, I mean, you come back to it, you got to have those winning plays for you on 3rd down as well. Draw up the man beaters, if you will, and the Falcons don't have that. I probably put most of it on the lack of pass catching weapons and obviously Zach Robinson as well versus straight up.
Which is upsetting when you spent 2 top 10 picks on receivers.
Yeah. 1 before Jamar Chase. But whatever. That's very much in the past. Man, what a draft that was. But at least you didn't trade up for a quarterback. But I mean, you can also get out of that. Look at what the 49ers have done. Another team to watch out for, somebody maybe in the personnel front office department, considering how they've continued to win football games despite the injuries. But it's not good enough right now. And I don't want to be the person to handle Michael Penix with kid gloves, right? Like, it's like at the end of the day, you are an NFL quarterback, and the rubric that we're grading you against is the NFL quarterback.
Nick, I am going to interrupt you right now.
Yeah.
Because I was asked this question when you weren't here.
Okay.
And I gave an answer, and I want to hear what you answer. Said, Nick, grade Michael Penix's season. I gave 2 grades. 1 as an NFL quarterback and 1 as a first-year starter.
As an NFL quarterback right now, he's probably getting a D+, maybe a C-.
I went C.
Okay. I mean, I'm a harsh grader for that. Like I don't grade on the curve. It's a true bell curve. So there needs to be as many Fs as Ds and whatever. And right now he's in the bottom fourth of NFL quarterbacks. And that's C- D range.
The way he's playing, that doesn't mean that's where his talent is. It's not his potential. That's where he's playing. Well, that's on Zach Robinson. Well, we know, but it's him that has to make the play. It's him that has to go out there and play. So
what's the quarterback's output? Forget the name on the back. If you're just looking at like watching the quarterback, where is it at? Probably a C-, D+ range.
And I would say that's a fireable offense for your offensive coordinator when you've got a number 8 pick. And if you've got to try something else at offensive coordinator, you're not going to just throw away your quarterback after one season as a starter. If it doesn't look, he's shown enough that, Michael Penix has shown enough that we all want to see more, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's going to cost Zach Robinson his job. That he's playing at that level is going to cost Zach Robinson his job.
Yeah. As far as grading him as a first-year starter / second-year quarterback, I probably give him a C+.
Yeah, I would be B-.
B-.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're close there. But I tend to be very forgiving if you have the tools. And while he's not this like dynamic athlete on the field, don't come in here and tell me what he ran in the 40. He's got a crazy, incredible arm talent, and he can make any throw. Now, I wish he's a little bit better down to down with some of the consistency and the accuracy, but kid's got a hose, no doubt. So I probably give him a C+, B- for the second-year quarterback, first-year starter grade, but it's probably a D+, C- on the whole right now. I mean, you can see it. They aren't operating a drop-back pass game. They have handcuffs on him somewhat because he's not super comfortable under center.
He's not throwing the ball downfield. He's not converting third downs. Again, whether you blame Michael Penix for that or not, and we don't typically.
No.
That's the reality of it. So, no, we're close on that.
And while he's has obviously issues on the offense with depth, you have a top 5 wide receiver and a top 3 running back. Now, granted, again, this comes back to your offensive coordinator, but that should be an easy button we saw it. It was an easy button in this, especially London, in this New England game. So it's a double-edged sword, right? But it's kind of like Matthew Stafford early on, like, oh, let's spam Calvin Johnson. Like, that's a good idea. Maybe it's not best for the quarterback long-term, but
keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. So I probably give him, I mean, should we be worried right now? I'm not necessarily worried. Like, if the question is like, is Michael Penix going to challenge for the best quarterback in the NFL? If that's your like end bar for what you want, then maybe you should be worried. But like, is he going to end up?
And if you were expecting that this year, you had unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, but like, this isn't a good data point for that pathway. But can he be a top 10 quarterback, obvious franchise guy worthy of a big second contract? Currently, I'm not worried. The data point's not great, but it's like you had a pop quiz. You have a full semester and you have a pop quiz and you got 3 out of the 5 questions right. And that's a bad grade overall on the pop quiz. But guess what? It's such a small data point. It's not all your fault. Your buddy was bothering you. You were sick the night before. You couldn't study, blah, 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 all that stuff. So the substitute teacher didn't cover it well. Who knows? But yeah,
well, going back to that analogy, Nick, if the whole class is failing, it probably means you got a bad teacher.
Yes. Yep. Standardized test scores, baby.
Michael Penix is not graded very well. Just like last year, I hammered this point home. When every single player in 2024 is playing worse on defense than they did in 2023, something's wrong. Well, Justin Simmons was garbage. Matthew Judon was terrible. Man, everybody took a step backwards last year. Not just those two.
No.
Real quick, I want to hit on this. I saw this earlier. So we have comp picks for Grady Jarrett and Drew Dahlman. So we have 3 third-round picks. No, you don't. One, Grady Jarrett was not a free agent. Well, he was because he got cut. You can't cut a guy and have him sign. He has to go all the way through the end of his contract, like David Onyemata. David Onyemata is going to see the end of his contract this year.
Tyler Algier.
Free agent.
Tyler Algier
would be eligible. Caden Ellis is at the end of his contract. He would be eligible. That said, the Falcons are going to have $60 million and are going to probably sign some folks to cancel those guys out the way they did with Drew Dahlman. Now, everybody who does the comp pick projections said Drew Dahlman was going to be worth a 6th a sixth, maybe a fifth, but a fifth or sixth round pick, and signing Diablo canceled that out. So the Falcons will not get a comp pick. And the only question you have, because if you sign a free agent in the first 2 weeks of the free agent period, that's where that comes into play. If you wait, then the comp pick stuff doesn't matter anymore. Could you have gotten Diablo after 2 weeks? I don't know, but anybody going to argue that Diablo wasn't the right signing? I'd rather have Divine Diablo out there on the field than a 6th round pick, wouldn't you? So I'm okay with that. Diablo was a
good signing,
a very good signing, but there are no comp picks. The Falcons, I can't even remember the last time the Falcons had a comp pick. They do not play the comp pick game well, and part of that is because, well, they don't have a lot of draft picks, and the ones they've had, let's see where would be coming up in that first draft. Jalen Mayfield, Richie Grant, that the only guy still on the team from that first draft pick is Kyle Pitts. You might get a comp pick for him, because he'll be out of contract at the end of this year too.
Yep.
I think, let me see. I took some notes on here. What am I missing? Third down numbers, we hit on those. Oh, I wanted to hit on the snap counts, because in the gut reaction, someone, I think it was John Harrell, asked, he said, was JD as bad as he was in the first game? And I was like, I don't really remember seeing him I saw him targeted a couple times. His numbers were way down. He only played 40% of the snaps, and Ronnie Harrison actually played more snaps than him in the last game. So there was an adjustment made there. I would expect to see more of Ronnie Harrison again. You're still going to see JD Bertrand, but you're not going to see him on the field more than anybody else on either team, like you did against the Dolphins.
Yeah. I mean, he's unfortunately a liability out there, and it doesn't help kind of the way he looks. His aesthetic is poor too, so it's really not a good time for JT Bertrand. And man, it's a real bummer with Troy Anderson. Again, I know he wasn't great out there, but at least he could live a little bit more with it. Linebacker's a hard spot, Scott. They don't play the same game in college that they do in the NFL. It's a completely different spacing. Their asks are a lot different, so it's probably one of the hardest evaluations from college to the NFL. Big and fast doesn't play if you don't got it above the neck, but you have to have some level of big and fast to get it done for the most part. It's not the days of Zach Thomas are long gone. They will isolate the heck out of you in space and pick on somebody like that. So sorry if there's any Zach Thomas truthers out here. I don't think that style would play in today's game. We got Curtis K. Case, 82. Good to see you, Curtis. $5 super chat and a member. Shout out to you, Curtis. Thank you for coming in here and hanging out. We really do appreciate you. He says, what do you guys think of Mike LaFleur as an offensive head coach? He's Rams. He's Matt's brother. He was with the Jets, I think, got fired. I don't remember exactly which regime he was under. I think he was the offensive coordinator there before they brought in Nathaniel Hackett. Gosh, man, the Jets, hilarious. But yeah, they're just unbelievable. Man, talk about a dumpster fire. Like, things stink here, but at least you don't have your owner saying stupid stuff and looking like the Jets, man.
Too stupid.
Yeah, too stupid. Yeah, but
there's still some in there, But
Michael LaFleur's definitely a candidate. The Rams are playing awesome football. They're probably the best, like, really, really good team that I feel like nobody's talking about right now. Like, they've played. We talked about that variant stat earlier, Scott. They're number 1 in variance, so they're like the same team every week. One of the few who took it to the Colts a bit as well. They've been good. I don't know. Sean McVay's the maestro there, so it's always a little bit sketchy pulling those guys away. But you had Kevin O'Connell, so certainly possible. I would bring him in for an interview in the least, especially if you're cleaning house, Scott. If you bring in somebody in the Rams organization that has Rams ties, then it makes sense to pair the two, I think. But Michael LaFleur is definitely somebody I'd bring in for an interview. Right now, my favorite would probably be Joe Brady. Now, I know it's always a little bit like, like he has the superstar quarterback, but what he's done with the run game and the offensive line, completely different than what Brian Daboll did with the Bills, I would be interested in. But that's just me. So Mike LaFleur would definitely be worth an interview.
I'm going to answer Curtis. And Curtis, thank you for being a member. If you want to be a member like Curtis, find the link. It helps us out, keeps his forehead nice and shiny. And it really does, especially in the leaner times. The membership helps us keep going through the dog days. That's for sure. Keeps us able to do this on a bi-weekly basis. Nick, this might have predated you, but both LaFleurs were on that 2016 staff, that super staff that Dan Quinn had with the Atlanta Falcons. Mike is now he actually is the offensive coordinator now for Sean McVay. What does that mean exactly? We don't know. Zach Robinson was not the offensive coordinator. He was a passing game coordinator when he got hired as the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. So he's got the prerequisite. He's got ties to the Falcons organization. That has to happen, right? You have to have been in and rubbed elbows with Arthur Blank before you're allowed to even come in and get another job. So that's the prerequisite that gets handled there. Is this too same? You know, what's uber frustrating about Zach Robinson is he comes out from under Sean McVay's tree and then doesn't do anything that Sean McVay does. You know, the under center game. Well, Michael Penix isn't comfortable, and Bijan Robinson likes a pistol. I don't care. You're the coach. You're the coach. It's your ass on the line. First off, I don't believe that. Oh, Bijan Robinson's making him run the pistol. My ass.
Yeah.
I don't believe that for one thing. And my answer was, if it was true, is then sack up and do something about it. Bijan is certainly capable of running more than one type of offense. I promise you. Otherwise, why the hell do you spend an 8 on him? He is. And here's a question I have. Curtis, Mike would definitely be in the discussion. And remember, Mike McDaniels, 1, 2, 3, all three of those guys were on Dan Quinn's staff in 2016 when Shanahan took the job with the 49ers as a head coaching job. And instead of looking within with one of those guys, they hired Steve Sarkisian. Yeah. And had the worst drop-off in offensive efficiency that any number one offense has ever had in NFL history. On that, here's a question I have for you, Nick, as we're coming up on time here.
Yeah, we are.
Why not Clint Kubiak? Why aren't you more excited about him? Because when I see when we're talking about potential guys, I see an offensive coordinator that is having a ton of success with a quarterback who has struggled in the past and is for a defensive coach. So you know it's his offense. This is Kubiak's offense. This isn't Sean McVay's offense. This is Kubiak's offense. What he is doing up in Seattle is a combination of the pieces put in place by the pieces and the culture put in place by the Seahawks and Kubiak running them all together. We feel like we have the pieces in place here in Atlanta, but not necessarily the culture and the chef mixing them all up into a nice souffle.
It comes back to Michael Penix if he can play under center. I mean, it's one of the heaviest under center offenses in football. Quarterback's back is to the line of scrimmage constantly. They're heavy 12 personnel. And I think right now, I mean, it's probably an indictment on Penix in that case if he can't play the under center game, big picture. But because right now what's working is passing out of 12 under center play action. But I worry about the fit with Penix because when I've watched him under center, he does not look comfortable. And there's different ways to make efficient offenses out there. So I'm hoping that I would be interested in Kubiak. I just worry about the marriage between Kubiak and Penix at the end of the day.
I just don't think the under center thing's that big a deal. He's athletic enough. You know, what are you comfortable with? Well, then get comfortable. You know, I've got 17 games. That means I've got 8 months to do nothing but go to Peyton Manning passing school and work under center and work on bootlegs, 7-step drops. And I guarantee you, every quarterback in the world has done all this. I would absolutely consider Kubiak. And if the under the center problem is the problem, well, I have to have the coach. I have to. All the pieces in the world do not matter. And we had this discussion with, is Sean Payton worth a first-round draft pick? We went back and forth on this a long time. Yes, the right coach. There are very few first-round draft picks, in my opinion, in the history of this game that are more important than an elite Hall of Fame coach. Now, find the coach, find the quarterback. They always go hand in hand. But if Kubiak is the absolute right guy and I pass on him because my quarterback's not comfortable under center, I'm a freaking moron.
Yeah.
That's not a good enough reason for me.
Yeah.
So he should absolutely be in consideration. If that's his biggest hangup, he should absolutely be in consideration.
And to that point, Scott, he only has, where are we at here? 43 dropbacks with 43 dropbacks as play action this season. And he has a negative 0.732 EPA on those plays, which is good for 31 out of 36 qualifying quarterbacks. And a lot of that is under center work. So again, chicken or the egg. I'm interested in Clint Kubiak. I just worry that's not where Penix is the best right now. But
we don't know. That's the thing. It's like, if we can't, we don't know if he can't play under center. He's not, and neither did Kirk. Kirk didn't play under center either. Well, he was immobile. Well, Penix isn't on that one. So on that one, and Brennan, I want to hit on this. And Brennan, thank you for being a member, my friend. Because I don't think we criticize Terry enough for never having a good coach and not making consistent good moves. Well, I can't criticize Terry Fontenot for the coaching because that's not his job. He's not the one hiring the coaches. And that's part of the defense of Terry Fontenot, is he's not the one hiring coaches. And that's not, we had this discussion a little bit on Monday. General manager and coaches are horizontal on an org chart these days. In a lot of organizations, they don't report to one another in most situations. They report up to someone else. In the past, it was Rich McKay. Right now, it's Arthur Blank. If I look at a Falcons org chart, Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris are right next to each other, and they report up to Arthur Blank. Terry Fontenot is not hiring the coaches. Yeah. And the head coach is hiring his assistant coaches. I don't know that that's always the best way to do things either, Nick. I mean, I want input too, but I need to have veto power on some of these guys. What do you mean you're hiring? You haven't been a head coach in 20 years. What do you mean you're hiring two guys that have never been coordinators? No. No, you're not. Let me see. I saw here on, it was AJ here. He says, I'd give Fontenot a B- for his time here with 5 straight losing seasons. That isn't good enough to say. And again, AJ, the parallel I tried to draw with Fontenot is Fontenot to me seems to be improving as a general manager. He was a first-time general manager. I kind of put it next to someone like Kyle Pitts. If Kyle Pitts is improving in his 5th year, he's 25 years old. That's not when you wanted him to go in his 5th year. That's when you want to re-sign him. Yeah, he was not worth a damn in years 2, 3, and 4, but he's an ascending player. What you got from the number 4 pick wasn't good enough. Now, go back to Terry Fontenot with that. No, he's had 5 straight losing seasons. He hasn't been good enough, but I think he has improved a lot in his experience. So that would be my argument for. My argument against is some of the unorthodox moves, the constantly trading up, the razor-thin depth that you've got across the team, the 5 straight losing seasons, the salary cap mess you're still in, you got yourself back into after fighting so hard to get out of it. And the big one for me, the one that tips it, if assuming they go 7-10 or worse again this year, is this team needs a culture change. They got to clean friggin' house. I don't want to hear comfortable. I don't want to hear family culture anymore. I want to hear winning. We are here to win. And if it means ruffling some feathers, pun intended, then so be it. That would tip the balance for me. That if I'm making a sweep, if I'm making moves, I'm changing the culture.
I mean, Scott, the movie reference I always make when it comes to team building an internal house, it's the Dark Knight with the Joker snapping the pool cue over his knee saying, we're having tryouts. I mean, I know it's a team and everybody needs to pull in the same direction, but at the end of the day, you are only as good as the competition in-house. Iron sharpens iron, all that stuff. I definitely take the belief of the elite college programs. Maybe it's not as much anymore in the transfer portal NIL era. There's a little bit less consolidation of talent than what we saw during the Alabama heydays for sure. But no, I'm very much, these guys got to compete. Nobody should be comfortable. Michael Penix shouldn't be comfortable. Bijan shouldn't be comfortable. You better be coming in there. And if you don't have competition on the roster elsewhere, you're competing with yourself in the very least. So I know that I think Mad Scientist thinks about Bill Belichick. I would not want anything to do with Bill Belichick coming in here right now with what's going on in North Carolina and his girlfriend of the
Yeah,
situation. That's a
and
toxic.
Blank is the one that torpedoed Bill Belichick. He
Good
called
in the end. That's probably you want to talk about a unit, Charlie. You know what? That's a
no,
that's
it's
chaos.
just the misinformation in the chat. Bill thought he had the job. Arthur gets on the phone with Robert Kraft, and Kraft says he will mess up your entire organization. Don't do it, and Blank put the kibosh on it.
Yeah, I would not.
That's what happened. So Robert Kraft torpedoed Bill Belichick to his buddy Arthur Blank. So that's what happened. And again, as Brennan says, no, listen, hey, I can go back and forth on this. It's not a binary argument. It's not black and white. There's margins here. So I can, and thank you for being a member here. He says, you don't hire someone for their potential. In part, you do, though. You hire someone for making good moves to give the team a chance to win. He hasn't done that. No, over the course of the 5 years, he's failed at his job. Is that fireable? Yes. Is he on the upward swing? Is he someone that you think, hey, he's now the guy I would hire? He's become the guy I would hire. Do I want to fire that guy? His pro personnel has been good. The drafts have been good. I can't stand all the trade ups.
No.
The free agent signings, other than Kirk Cousins, have been money. He's been so good at that. The Kirk Cousins thing really puts a damper on all of it, but people have survived bad contracts with quarterbacks before and even thrived, right, Sean Payton? So I see both sides with Terry Fontenot. I do. But right now I would lean towards I gotta upset the culture in this place. That's where I would lean towards because it's 8 straight years of losing. I need a clean sweep. That's where I would be.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see where it goes. You still have the rest of the season. We're talking about this team like the season's done and gone, but it is a week-to-week league, Scott, and I will say the Colts do not match up well, or the Falcons do not match up well with the Colts because how do you get this Colts team? You run them off the field with the offensive line in the ground game, and that's what the Colts want to do. But and stuff. At the end of the day, though, we got to make sure that Penix progresses and whatever that takes. I still am a believer that first and foremost, it's the offensive line more than anything else, more than the weaponry. But that might be biased to some extent, Scott, because I have a offensive mastermind calling the plays, and you can have Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims out there who are wide receiver 3-4s at best. You're still scheming them open. I don't really feel the scheming open space designer plays. Like Sean Payton has 5 or 10 any given game. He's like, I know this is the coverage they're going to run at this point. I know what the matchup's going to be. I'm calling this play. This is a touchdown. This is a first down. No easy buttons at all right now for Michael Penix in this game. It should be the run game, which is the easy, the matchup one that should be doing it, but not the pass game either. So it's frustrating, but season can change on a dime. If you go out there in Berlin, the international game kind of levels the playing field and play that game. Now, granted, you're going from East Coast away game, Northeast out to Berlin. That's definitely harder than having home and then international, but we'll see. Again, Falcons defense has been good enough this season on the whole. Colts have shown they might make some turnovers here or there that if you take away and minimize the runner, as Mike Tomlin likes to say, and Jonathan Taylor, you got a chance. So it's the NFL. I wouldn't give up right yet. I wouldn't. What is the president, they put out the newspaper that he lost, and the next morning he's like, actually, I won. It might have been Truman out there. I'm really flexing my AP US history there, but we'll see.
Couple of things here real quick. Talking about that, Ski says if the Kraft rumor is true, it's not a rumor. It's a reported fact. Because you were right. Blank did want Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick thought he had the job until Blank called Robert Kraft. That's not a rumor. That is a reported on fact. You can Google that one. That's not an I heard. That's not a rumor. That is a fact. That's what happened on that one. And y'all are talking about Kirk Cousins in here because, talking about his cap hit. He will be cut after this season. He will carry a $35 million dead cap hit, and you can spread that across 2 years. I'm not sure exactly how they would do it. So in 2026, he would have, say, I'm just going to cut it in half to make it easy. So $17 million cap hit, dead cap hit. His scheduled cap hit is like $57 million. So you save $40 million on Kirk Cousins' contract in 2026. And then it's about that. And it's $40 million again in 2027. So it was always a 2-year deal. That was the plan. That's why he came to Atlanta, because the Falcons guaranteed him 2 years and $100 million, where the Minnesota Vikings really were only guaranteeing one of those years. So, and Brennan, absolutely. He says, Kirk's agent is first ballot Hall of Fame. Yeah. I've seen some memes out there, Nick, of how much money he's made with one in guaranteed money with one playoff. It's a lot. It is a
Good
lot.
work if you can get it.
It's a lot, but we're going to get out of here. I want to say thank you to our guy, Curtis Case, for coming in twice. Curtis Case coming in twice with the super chats. We will be back I will not be here for a gut reaction on Sunday. We'll be back on Monday for the reaction to the Colts game. We'll see. The Falcons have played to the level of their competition, or, to an extreme level. Good teams they've outplayed, including the Patriots. Bad teams, they have sunk well below. Yeah. This is the best team that they have faced, as far as health and everything goes. The Indianapolis Colts will be the best team they have faced.
Maybe the Bills.
The Bills weren't playing all that great.
It was a bad game.
Anything can happen. They were banged up.
One game. Yeah, anything can happen in one game.
But this is the best overall team right now. I would have rather faced the Bills on that Monday night than I would rather face the Colts right now. This is a better team than when you faced them.
Yeah. Any given Sunday or any continent, I guess. So I do got to get the kid to daycare, Scott, and he was stinky this morning. Out. So appreciate everybody. And let's go Falcons. Yeah,
we'll see y'all on Monday. Garrett will be back on Thursday night, and then we will see you on Monday. Unless I see all members, if I do some members only videos between now and then. Otherwise, hit me up in the comments, like, subscribe, and share. Become a member. We need you. So it's we've got several on here, and you can see the ones that come in. They got little birds next to their names. So y'all have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy some football in the morning, football brunch, and we'll see y'all next time.